Hi guys, this is Nick, and this is Nick's Collectibles, brought to you by Geeks with Cash. What I have here is Masterpiece Megatron from the Beast Wars series. Got this one a while back, have not had much time to really play with it. Loved this show as a child, loved this figure. I think it's just an amazing looking figure. I fell in love with it when I saw pictures of it. It's very true to the actual CGI show back in the 90s on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at this one. We're going to show you the ins and outs, and if I can work it out, I'm going to try to transform it on film so you guys kind of see the process that I go through for the actual transformation. But for right now, let's go ahead and work on getting him opened up here. This is going to be a little dicey because I had to open him up a little bit before, so he's a little bit loose in here, so some parts fall out. I apologize. One of the things I did not put back in the box for the unboxing is this. This has his actual card here, which I'll go ahead and pull out. You can see there, it's got him on the front, and then on the back, for you stats people, it's got his stats. You can't really read anything on there, mostly because it's all in Japanese, but it is there. The rest of this is primarily just his transformation instructions, which... just look online or find somebody who's good at transforming these. I've never, ever in my life found the transformation instructions on these things to be even remotely adequate because they're mostly in Japanese, and on top of that, it's mostly pictures that are vaguely drawn and not highlighted very well. So let's go ahead and open this sucker real quick. Here we go. We're going to try to be very careful, and I'm just going to lean this back towards me. Get my hand in here and slide this out. Okay. So you can see here you've got Megatron himself. You've got his little beam that comes out from his mouth. You've got two different faces here. You've got his hunting rifle. You've got a couple of different stand parts here, which I actually have Dinobot. He does not come with his own stand. So if you want to put him in some of the poses that they show on the back of the box, you're going to have Dinobot. He's got the stand that works with these three components in order to do that part. So let's go ahead and take him out and kind of get a look at him real quick. So here is the beam component. You can see it's got this little hashing on there. That's because it's hollow on this side. It's kind of not one piece. That made it a little cheaper to manufacture. It's not a major negative, in my opinion. Here's a better look at the actual hunting rifle itself. You can see it's kind of a double-barreled action thing with a nice scope on it. It's got a little marker like right here that I got it in frame, that you can see that's going to let you like hook it into his hand. Here you can see one of his faces. I'll try to get some shots with him with that on. Here's his other face that's a little bit more angry. And then here's one of the geeky reasons why I like this figure. And I hate to admit it, but it's one of my absolute favorite things when they include these in here, is they actually included a toothbrush. I don't remember this being part of the show, but I'm always kind of a sucker for these stupid little accessories that make no sense, and they're just funny and fun. Let me get this out of here. This thing's taped in really well because I didn't want it going anywhere. Yeah. Dental hygiene is important, kids. Brush your teeth. Listen to your mother. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and pull him out. And here he is. Move him back here so you can get a better look at him. And get his feet a little better positioned. There. So you can see that very much like any of the Beast Wars figures, he's pretty much going to be what's called a quote-unquote shell former, meaning most of him is right here. That's one hand, that's one hand. Here are his legs, and then here's the main part of the torso right here. So as we get into this, this is going to be a lot of forming the backpack kind of mechanism on it to kind of get him in the right place. But you can see his head will kind of tilt back and forth one way or another, which is cool. His arms will move in and out, and they kind of turn on this axis here, like so. His toes lift up and down, giving him a little bit more of a dynamic kind of flex, like that. The heel spur here comes out. This is mostly used in his robot form, but I found a couple of like poses. If you want him to not stand so horizontally, you want him to sit back a little bit, pulling that out actually helps a pretty good bit as far as the stability goes. The tail back here also moves back and forth. It has a little bit of up and down, but not much. So that's pretty much him in his dino form. I'll get some better pictures of him as we kind of move along in the transformation process. But right now, I'm going to have to put a brief stop here and kind of get him back in a better position. I'm going to have to put a brief stop right here and get him positioned in such a way that I can transform him so you guys can see the actual transformation process. And then I'll walk you through what he looks like in robot mode, and we'll get some pictures of him in both modes. Kind of like I do at the end of most of my videos where I put them on display, they kind of rotate around. That way there's no hidden kibble or anything hidden behind camera tricks or anything like that. You see them just the way they're laid out. Okay? So stick with me, guys. We're going to get into it. Hope you guys have a good time with this. So here is Megatron in his beast mode out of the box. You can see under the lighting I've got that he's got some pretty amazing detail on him. You can see a lot of the seams and stuff like that. I've done a good bit of transforming on him, so he may not be completely as clean as he should be. But I think I got him transformed fairly clean. You can see the detail on the front of his face here. And I'll try to move him in a little bit closer so you can see the eyes and everything like that. The jaw opens up and he has like his little mouth thing in there. And then actually in here, which I don't know if I can get a good angle on it, at least right now, he can kind of fit his little laser blast in there. There it is. You can see it from that angle. It was a little hard to get a shot of from my box. But I think he looks really, really good in this mode. I think he's pretty impressive. I'm going to try to transform him inside here. I've got a small enclosure that I've got him in right now. It's going to be kind of tricky overall because he is really big, so he's hard to keep in shot in the size of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop for a second and try to play around with the angle a little bit and try to transform him and then go through what he looks like in his robot mode so that you guys can see that, which I think will be easier to display because it's not quite as wide. That's part of the problem with me shooting him right now, is he is so wide and he is so tall that he's very hard to fit in frame because my arms are short and he is tall, so I can't get him far enough away from me and keep him in focus in the camera so that you guys can see me transform him effectively or move him around very well. So this may be a little bit of a struggle. Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and try to get Megatron here transformed. I'm going to apologize in advance for the camera angle and any shaking that may occur. He is fairly big and my enclosure is fairly small. So this might be a little difficult for me to pull off. I'm going to try to move him just a little bit closer here so I can work with him a little easier. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start working some pieces loose here. You'll notice that he's mostly his backpack like we had mentioned before. So the easiest way I've found to approach his figure is to kind of start working on his legs here first. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and lift these up and we're going to move them out of the way. That'll break this seam here. That'll start to loosen this up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out a little bit. These actually slide out from the leg. I can get that where you can see it. You can see it right there, right? And then what you do is you rotate this around just a little bit like that, and you can push it back in like that. Then you're going to pop open this piece here like that, right? And then this piece folds in here, like so. Then what you're going to do is there's another piece right here. And this you can flip out like that and then close. And then you can continue to kind of rotate that around like that. And this can get pushed in like so. Okay. So you can see that that's kind of like that. Then what we're going to do here is we're going to move this like that just to kind of get it out of the way, right? For right now. That'll close up some of the pieces. We may have to rotate that back around later, but that's where I'm going to do it for right now. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side here. I'm going to separate the leg out. That'll pop that loose. And then before I even move it, I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Pop that out. Close this back up. And then get that out of the way. That'll get rid of some of the kibble that we're going to have with this main figure. Okay? So the next thing we've got to do is we start getting all this separated so that we can start to maneuver the figure. Okay? So this is a little easier said than done. There's a couple ways to approach it. I know some people kind of push in here and then move the head, and that kind of separates that. So that's one way of doing it. You can also come underneath here and you can work them loose there. This looks like this is giving me a little bit of breathing room here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this way so you can see the top. And I'm going to start separating these pieces. Like that. Okay? So now that's pretty much loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand him up like this again, move the leg in a little bit so I can get some more stability. Like that. And then this whole part, I may have to get the leg back out of the way. You can see this hinge here, right? So what you want to do is you want to get this whole piece to kind of rotate down. You may have to work a few other pieces loose so that you can kind of float this down. And then I like to rotate this up like that. So that way it's mostly out of the way. So I'm going to repeat this on the other side. If you guys didn't get a good look at it, hopefully you will on this side. See right here, grab here, push here, and then down. And then, as I want to do, I will move mine up. And that gets him kind of in this state right here. Now you can see the head and the body at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and move the head up like so, just to kind of start to get it out of my way. And then here's where things start to get very, very floppy for a little bit, because this is where he gets kind of challenging. The biggest problem with him in his transformation is this piece here. This goes up from here. So it kind of makes almost a sickening pop. So what you have to do is you have to get a good grip on it, and then you just have to pull. There's no gentle way to do this. Like that. You can see how much force I had to do just to get it to pop up. But that's how it has to go. Okay? So at this point, you can see this part here. This is actually his hips. So this is going to drop straight down, like so. And then we can kind of rotate him around like this. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and finish fixing his legs that we started a little earlier, where I got some things out of the way to make it easier on me, right? So I'm going to first try to get this an angle like this. There, like that, right? So you move it down to where this is facing forward. You take this piece and you rotate it around. Oh, like this. To where that is front facing. This you may have to pull out again, because I probably moved it a little earlier than I needed to. And it rotates around, goes in like that, and then I can stay snapped in. So his leg is like that. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this piece out, or just off. They come off. And then you can rotate this around like that. And then you can take this and you can just pop it on. You can actually do that like I showed you without having to pop it off. If it comes off, it's no big deal. It's not going to break anything, right? So there are his legs, which I can't get him far enough for you to see it. But that's pretty much his lower body formed. So what we have to work on now is we have to work on his upper body. And that's where things start to get a little tricky. So I'm going to go ahead and lift this up just a little bit and tilt him down so you can kind of see part of the backpack. Hopefully I can get it in focus. See if I can move his arm out of the way. Okay, so that's a little more in focus. So I'm going to take this part here and I'm going to push that down like that. Then I'm going to take this, I'm going to rotate this forward like that. Okay, that finishes the first part. The next part is having to do his wings here. And this is where stuff gets difficult for me to angle into the camera, but we're going to give this a shot. Okay, so all this has to fold up. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this part here and I'm going to fold it down here like so, like that. Okay, and then this part is going to fold in here like that. Okay, and then this right here folds back to here like that. Okay, and then the next part you're going to see on this right here is this piece and this piece. This kind of separates in like that, right? And then this whole piece can separate and shift down. This shifts down on this piece here. Get it loose enough. There we go. And that moves down like that. Okay. This, you may want to rotate around. I generally rotate it around here. Like this. Just to get it out of the way. And then this piece here, I just tilt up. Like that. Okay. So at this point, this can kind of fold back. Kind of in here. Like that. Okay. And that's going to be the basis of what we're going to do on the other side as well. Sorry if the camera angle is a little wonky. I'm doing the best I can here to not move the camera and to kind of get this done. So what we're going to do is second side, same as the first. So I'm going to rotate him around like so. Slightly different angle, same process. This, down, this, down into these pegs here, like so. This separates, and then I'm just going to bring it down, just get it out of the way. Lift that up and move this down like that. I've already had one of those leg pieces come off. That's what the planky heard. I'm going to move that out a little bit and move this up. And then I may actually move this up a little bit more, because what I want to do is get this piece folded here like that. And then I can move that back in a little bit, like so. So that's the main part of his backpack transformed, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this aligned and pieced together, because these actually move into here. So you'll do that, like so, and that, like so. See how they're folded in? Like that, okay? So I'm going to shift him around a little bit here. And what you're going to see as I start to fold this in, sorry, bump the camera. I'm going to get his head back out of the way and start folding him in. So this folds up in, and if you folded this part down properly, this should just sort of like start to slide all the way in. And we're going to see how good a job I did here. Move it towards the back so you can kind of see. Do you hear that click? See how these pegs went in? That means you did your job right. So that got him there. And then you could drop this down onto this peg here, like that. And then this hip piece here is supposed to push forward. I always have trouble with this part too. And I always struggle with that part. Okay. I have to say that for when I get him more stabilized. That's got him mostly together for the most part. We still got a little bit of work to do on the arms, but you can see for the most part that he's kind of transformed at this point. Got a little bit of kibble that fell off, and there's a little bit I needed in the back part, but this is the basis of him. I'm going to lift this up again and see if I can't get this kind of arranged, because I know, oh God, this piece is such a pill. Okay, this hip here, this is supposed to slide up to here, like that. And then that can come down. And it's supposed to snap on to his base. One doesn't do it very well. But I'm going to go ahead and rotate him around so we can get the backpack kind of more situated. So this kind of rotates in like this. This rotates in like this. I'm going to move these pieces in a little more because they're supposed to join this piece to this slot here, like that, if you can get them in. Mine's always a little troublesome. It's not too bad, but it's a little fussy. Oh, come on. Oh, you do not want to peg today, do you? Okay, let me get my thumb here. Ah, dang it! Okay, well, that's an inherent problem with this design. See that? That comes off of there, and that's intentional. So sometimes when you're transforming him, because he's meant so you can like take his armor pieces off, parts kind of pop off. Feel like I don't have these aligned quite right. The thing you'll learn about this figure very quickly after you transform him a few times is he is goddamn peculiar about where you put things. Alright, that goes there. And this right here separates like that and like that. Okay, so that locks into place there. I'm going to get this piece back here and I'm going to put it back on like so, like that. And then I'm going to stand him up for a minute so you guys can kind of see where I'm at. Let me see if I can get him back far enough. Now, let me do one more thing. On his feet, there are these little posts here. They come out like this, and that helps him stand. When you can actually get his toes down and you're not working around a huge camera. Like that. So, you can see the majority of him is now transformed. He's not angled quite right. One of his fins on mine is a little bent. I'm going to try to fix that. But we're going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to finish his arms, and that will pretty much have his transformation down. And then I'll work on getting some other shots and other things like that, because I want to kind of stop and take a look at this and make sure I didn't give anybody a seizure trying to transform him. So let me see if I can angle that a little, like that. There we go. That's a little better. Move that out, because symmetry. Yeah. Okay, so the next part is his arm here. I'm going to go ahead and take these little eyes. I'm going to roll those up. And then I'm going to grab here. And I'm just going to wiggle this out a little bit. This whole piece kind of lifts up like this. Goes out like that. And then down. And that is one arm. This one is a little more complicated in design. It's not too bad, it's just kind of long and awkward. So we're going to separate these two pieces here. That's going to go like that. That's going to go like that. This will move up like that. And then his arm kind of comes out of here. Now this whole piece will kind of shift back a little. I'll see if I can get an angle on it. You can kind of see in here, this whole piece just pushes up a little bit like that and then comes back down, and then you can kind of clamp those two back down. And there he is. That's him fully transformed. I can't believe I got it on camera. I'm kind of happy with myself. I think his hip's still a little off. I'd like to see that a little more straight. So yeah. As you can see, there's his legs, his body, and his head. He is now officially transformed. So that's it for him. As you can see, he's kind of fiddly. Actually, he's pretty significantly fiddly. He is kind of fun. I find the whole backpack part a little on the frustrating side, as you guys can see from my transformation. It's probably not the cleanest one, but I did get it done. I wish his torso here snapped in a little more securely here. That kind of bugs me a little bit. Mine doesn't go quite as secure as I'd like. It might be something wrong that I'm doing. I don't know. If you guys do know, put something in the comments on it to let me know. I've just never gotten that fully secure. He doesn't like flop around on me or anything. He's just not as secure as I would like. Overall, I think he's a pretty great figure. I'm pretty happy with him overall. I'm going to try to get some better shots of him now that I've got him transformed. And I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this segment on it. I'm kind of excited I managed to do this on camera. This is the most complicated one I've done on camera. So I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. So hang tight while I get some shots, and hope you guys are having a good time.